Buckskin is the soft, pliable, porous, preserved hide of an animal, usually deer, elk or moose, tanned in the same way as deerskin clothing worn by Native Americans. Some leather sold as buckskin may now be sheepskin tanned with modern chromate tanning chemicals and dyed to resemble real buckskin. Buckskin is preserved with a dressing of some kind of lubricant, physically manipulated to make it soft and pliable, and usually smoked with wood smoke. Smoking gives buckskin its typical dark honey color and is highly recommended. Smoking prevents the tanned hide from becoming stiff if it gets wet, and deters insects from eating it as well. Unsmoked buckskin is lighter, even white, in color. Buckskin is simply the skin of a buck. Clothing made of buckskin is referred to as buckskins. Dry scrape method. The dry scrape method involves taking a wet deer hide and stretching it on a rack to dry flat. A scraping tool is then dragged perpendicular to the blade along the hair side, scraping off the epidermis and hair, including all the hair follicles. The flesh side should be scraped as well. When the entire hide is scraped, it is taken off the rack, rehydrated, and dressed. Wet scrape method. The wet scrape method involves scraping the wet hide on a smooth downward slanting log or fleshing beam with the upper end at stomach or sternum level. A steel blade split leg bone can be used for a scraper. The hide is draped on the log. The person leans into it, holding the hide in place with the body and pushing the scraper away with both hands. The epidermis is scraped off the outside of the hide to achieve a soft finish. The membrane is scraped off the flesh side. If the hide is more than a day or two old, it should be bucked first, via an alkali soaking process called bucking. The hide is soaked in a solution of wood ashlar hydrated lime in water. This causes the grain layer to swell, making it easier to slip the hair and scrape off the grain. Dressing. Once the hide has been scraped, it must be dressed in a dressing solution. These can be made from any emulsified fat, such as egg yolks or the animal's brain mixed into water. Another option is an oil in a soap mixed in water. Typically the wet hide is wrung out, then left in the dressing solution for 15 minutes or more, then wrung out and dressed again. Repeating this a third time ensures that the dressing reaches the middle of the hide. Stretching. The next step is stretching, drying. This is time sensitive and has to be done from start to finish without stopping. The drying hide is continuously pulled and stretched in all directions, which lubricates the fibers of the hide with the oil of the dressing, and ensures that the fibers stay lubricated. This may be done on a rack with a stretching tool, or by hand. Often the hide is stretched against a steel cable or a rounded steel or wooden blade. This must be done until the hide is completely dry and no longer cold to the touch, or else the finished buckskin will be stiff, and will have to be dressed and stretched over again. Smoking. The dry skin should now be totally supple and soft. If it gets wet at this stage, it must be stretched again until dry, or it will revert to being a stiff piece of scraped raw hide. If this happens, the hide must be redressed. To make it washable, the hide must be smoked. Thus, a smoked hide can be washed, even with soap. To smoke a buckskin, it is folded in half and glued or sewn into a bag with an opening on one end. A pant leg or other cloth tube is attached to the opening of the buckskin bag. The smoking fire can either be in a wood stove or a hole in the earth. Regardless of how the bed of coals is prepared, the other end of the pant leg is roughly sealed over the opening of the smoker. The buckskin bag is suspended above the smoker, and sticks can be placed inside of it to prevent the sides of the bag from touching each other. A handful of dry, rotten wood is thrown on the coals, and begins smoldering. Care is taken to prevent the cloth from catching fire, as the hide can be burned in seconds. Ideally, most or all of the smoke is forced through the buckskin. All holes must be sealed or taped to force the smoke through. The hide is smoked until the smoke color penetrates through to the other side. Then the hide is turned inside out and it is smoked again until it reaches a desired color. Much care must be taken to ensure the fire is not burning, only smoldering, as flames or excessive heat will ruin the skin. Care of buckskin. The finished buckskin will shrink slightly after the first washing, so it should be washed, or at least wet and dried before making clothing. Buckskin should be washed in cold water and air-dried. Hot water will destroy it. After drying, it can be stretched or cabled for a short time to re-soften it.